On left here is the Grant's tomb, the final resting place for the 18th President of the United States of America. And Ulysses S. Grant refused the military burial to be buried next to his wife Julia, who would outlive him by some 17 years. Grant was a very heavy cigar smoker, and he would later succumb to throat cancer. He would also die just 4 days after completing his memoirs. He actually wound up having to write his memoirs because early on the family invested in a business that went belly up. And so in order to leave his wife Julia some money, he wound up having to write his memoirs. Also, Grant's will be over 5 miles long, one of the longest in New York City history. Also, we see the ceramic animals that surround Grant's tomb. They were made by children. Back in the late 60s into the early 1970s, there was a lot of drug trafficking and skateboarding here at Grant's tomb. It was a very dangerous, rundown area. So the city commissioned some kids to make the ceramic animals that today surround Grant's tomb. Also, before the opening of the Statue of Liberty, Grant's tomb was the most popular tourist attraction here in New York. Also, there's no tax on either shoes or clothes in the state of New Jersey. What they get you on is the property tax. Up in the year 1931. Next, up in Manhattan to Fort Lee, New Jersey. Also located just underneath the Washington Bridge on the Manhattan side is a little red lighthouse. Inspired, the lighthouse inspired the children's book known as the Little Red Lighthouse. Also, you notice it's kind of hilly in this part of town. At one time, the whole island was quite hilly. So when they started to build here on Manhattan Island, they had to level off many of the hills. And in Indian, Manhattan actually means Isle of Rolling Hills. And on the let's show you the lights on. Will be the film coming up. Adam Alexander's Dollhouse. Back up there, fella. Also coming on the other side of the light, the right building, is where you'll find today the Cotton Club. It's a restaurant used for brunch on the weekends and dinner. Not nearly stands as a brunch was, it's a musical place. And the original Cotton Club was located about 20 blocks north of where we are now. Also, the spot where the Cotton Club sits is now wandered by Columbia University, more building there. On the left side of the Dear Columbia, no forced displacement sign there. Also in the area known as Harlem, named after a colony in Holland that was known as New Harlem. In the 1600s, the first white settlers that tried to settle up here had very rough go of it. There were a number of wild Indians that lived in the area, and many of the first white settlers were killed off by the Indians who lived here in Harlem. Also, at one time, Irish, Italian, and German immigrants all lived in the area. And after World War I, when they had trouble seeking housing downtown, many people from the Afro-American community would move up here to Harlem. Off to your right, these buildings are known as public housing. They locate each of the 5 boroughs of the city, where the amount of rent people pay is how much they earn per year, based on a sliding scale fee. So we can actually pay as low as $200 a month to live in public housing. And there's a wait list of up to 15 to 20 years for people waiting to get in. And in the early 1930s, here on 125th, there were many department stores located on the block. And many department stores had a policy where blacks could shop there, but not work there. So before he went off to Congress, Adam Clayton Powell organized a strike against many department stores, saying if the blacks could not work there, they also would not shop there. And for the most part, the strike would be a major success. And looking down to your left, we'll find the Apollo Theater, where Wednesday night they still have the showtime at the Apollo. And if you look beyond the Apollo, there's a building there with a martini glass on it. It's the building where Bill Clinton has his offices here in Harlem. Including the Jackson 5, the Supremes, the Four Tops, the Miracles, as well as the comedians, the late Bernie Mac and Chris Rock, have all performed at the theater. Also, everybody may want to scoot down your seats. That tree branch is going to come a little low down here on the 5th Avenue. Oh, we're trying a lake known as Muir Lake, where you can actually fish here in Muir Lake. But if you catch it, you got to throw it right back in. You can't keep it. And if you do catch a thing, I don't think you'd want to keep it. On the right here, the American card. And up going on your right, we have a playground known as the East Meadow Playground, where you see the baseball diamond also functions as an emergency landing for helicopters. George Bush uses it whenever he's in town. Also coming will be the apartment where Jackie Kennedy, or the building where she lived in, will be at 1040 Fifth Avenue. When she passed on in 1994, Gentleman bought her apartment for $9 million. About a year or so ago, he renovated it and turned around and sold it for $32 million. Anyways, our next stop is for the Guggenheim Museum. We might appreciate you riding with us, and we are service industry, so we greatly appreciate tips you leave us, which we split right down the middle. I just want to thank Mike for doing such a great job this morning with the bus. Next up, Guggenheim. Next up, the Mets. Also, the guy who sells hot dogs outside the Met Museum pays $350,000 a year to lease space at the Met. We have to charge a few extra dollars for his hot dogs. We have to sell quite a few of them to pay that kind of money. On the right is big building known as the Arsenal. So weapons were stored during the Civil War. Also, in time they're going to do the Museum of Natural History in this spot. Enter the headquarters of the Parks and Recreation of New York City is located. And on the next block, a tragedy occurred about 2 years ago, one block over. The couple was going through a bitter divorce. So bitter that the John was so mad that his wife didn't get the brownstone building they lived in the divorce proceedings, which pissed him off to no end. Pissed him off to the point that he actually blew up the entire brownstone building. But luckily he was the only casualty in that accident. It's a empty spot for sale for $9 million. And we only get a partial view of it, but there's a, looks like a black building right there, a brown. It's actually a Trump Tower. It's a building where Donald Trump lives with his wife and child on the top 4 floors of the building. In fact, their child actually has a photo himself on top of the building. Also to your right, through the park, into the horse carriage, getting ready to go for rides through the park. It's at $34 up to 4 people. Take a half an hour carriage ride in one of those. And on your right is the Plaza Hotel. The Plaza opened up earlier this year as 3-quarter condo, the other part hotel. Our gentleman purchased a condo for $56 million at the Plaza. Also, they would shoot the way we were, barefoot in the park, Home Alone 2, North by Northwest, among many other films, at the Plaza.
I just wanted to stop.
Also, just to the left here will be the building known as 1325 6th Avenue. It's in the White Lane, working with Mr. Peterman on the Seinfeld TV show. Also, as we turn right here, at the CBS store. To the right of the CBS store will be the Ed Sullivan Theater. That's where David Letterman takes weekday afternoons. Next I have the Winter Garden Broadway Theater. It's for a West Side Story, Maine, Funny Good on Cats. I'll play that here. On the left is where you'll find Caroline's Comedy Club, where a lot of top stand-ups perform. To your right is where you'll find the Brill Building, where a lot of 50s and 60s rock and roll songs are one time written in the Brill Building. Also for chocolate lovers, on your right we have the Hershey's Candy Store. Across here we have the M&M Mars Candy, and also one block over from that, there's a good guy, chocolate store. And I'm surprised it's, just upcoming here will be the Naked Cowboy. At the light on the left-hand side, yeah. Getting his photo taken with the tourists. You're right here at MTV. And across the ABC Studios, we're on the ground floor. Good Morning America comes from a weekday morning. Also, the big store. That's where we are kind of looking at the national floor. And then the rest of the theater is follow suit. The LED. And we're now coming up to 42nd and Broadway, otherwise known as Crossroads of the World. About one block down to your left along the avenue here, you're going to find Bryant Park, or Fashion. It's currently underway. People look at fashion. And our next stop is 41st here. You can just hop on out and pick up